Today we're going to talk about Baha'im. We're going to have a class today that requires a little bit of patience because for most of you it's going to be a lot of theory, a lot of theoretical numbers, number crunching. As I'm guessing not many of you own farms, either partially or fully. Does anyone here own farmland, farm animals, cows, sheep, no matter how many? Not one? Allahu Akbar. Tayyib. Then today's lesson looks like it's going to be a theory. However, as our world progresses and technology evolves and people think that everything now is technology, you don't know what the future of this world is, and you don't know that maybe the internet flops and people are back to farms and all of that. And it's good practice for us to understand exactly how zakat is going to be paid from these animals, from farm animals, and we will practice with that. And as I mentioned to you yesterday, it's not expected for something that you yourself don't deal with, for you to constantly remain thinking that the pillar of Islam means I have to know all the time in my head how many cows I have to pay, or how much zakat is due on 85 cows or 300 sheep and so on. Rather, we do this for practice. We do this to have some understanding about what zakat is about, and we'll get into more practical kinds of wealth with our next lectures. As you can see, partnerships, crops, precious metals, jewels, honey, treasure. We're getting closer to the wealth that more of you have. And then fourthly, that's the big one, our fourth session that is most relevant to us, that is zakat on money, jewelry, and merchandise. And there'll be a nice focus on scenarios and how we apply that when we get to merchandise, because I know that there are many merchants, part-time or full-time merchants among you. And so you need to know about how to handle merchandise. One of the key questions you have probably is, well, how do I evaluate the value of my merchandise? Is it based on my cost? Is it based on the value that I paid, not the sticker price, or is it based on the sticker price of my merchandise when I go to evaluate all of my wealth? Right? All of that is coming, inshallah, in the fourth session, and the last session is going to be the who gets to receive that zakat money or the zakat properties. Tayyib. So today is zakat on farm animals. Tayyib. A quick benefit that Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan mentions in Al-Mulakhas al-Fiqhi. Al-Mulakhas al-Fiqhi, by the way, so you know, the book that I used primarily to prepare these from was a series of radio announcements by the Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan. You know Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan, one of the senior scholars in Saudi Arabia, one of the top, most reliable scholars of today's time, on the Lajnat al-Da'ima, Hay'at Kibar al-Ulama, Council of Senior Scholars, those scholars recognized for their seniority, their steadfastness, their knowledge. He mentions here that when money is given to a loan, money is given as a loan to a person in financial difficulty. What is the zakat that's going to be in this case? This is just a quick benefit. The point is different over, first of all, Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan says that if the money is returned, when you give money as a loan, when you give some wealth to someone as a loan, and he's a person in financial hardships, you recognize that Allah Ta'ala has told you to be easy on the person who's mu'sir. He doesn't have the ability to pay back, and it's iffy if you're going to get this money back. Right? So you recognize that from the beginning. So part of your intention is to be lenient at the beginning and not to be strict on this person who's facing difficulties. So you're making more of a commitment than someone who gives a loan to someone who's normally known to be fully capable to pay it back. You're giving more of a commitment, realizing that you may have to wait a long time, you may have some difficulty in recovering that money, and you may not recover that money. You may eventually excuse that debt. So the Sheikh says after years of that debt being out, when it's returned, you pay 2.5% on it whenever it's returned. 1 year's zakat, no matter when it's returned. That's a quick benefit as it relates to non-zakatable wealth, meaning the poor person, the person who's going through financial difficulty, he receives the money and he uses it to live by, and he himself is not paying zakat on it because he needs it to survive. It's the essentials that he has to spend on his family, so he will have nothing left and he will not be able to pay it back. if he pays it back, then no matter how long it took him to pay it back, you pay, as the one who's received the money, you pay it back, or you pay the zakat. Sorry, I'm a bit tired. You pay 2.5% on the amount when it's returned, no matter how many years it took to pay that back. And Allah Ta'ala knows best. And another point is that property that is used by its owner, this was alluded to yesterday, property used by the owner. So factory equipment, if we're talking about farms today, we're going into farm animals, so tractors, farm equipment, storage facilities, the property, the earth itself, the ground that is purchased, the farm, the buildings, all of that, none of that is zakatable. None of that is to be counted as wealth, and zakat is to be paid on it, with an exception. Unless you're a real estate agent and you bought those things as merchandise, then it counts as your merchandise, right? But if you are a farmer and that's your property and you use that to make your income, then that is your right to have that without paying the zakat on any of that value. Example, houses, furniture, car, appliances, office equipment, all of that stuff is exempt from zakat. As we mentioned yesterday, the zakat is what is due on things that grow, either grow within themselves like the animals, or the money that is used in the market to grow and you have savings after that, or the merchandise that you use to increase your wealth. When the wealth itself grows, then zakat is due on it. But when the wealth doesn't grow, like the equipment that you use, it doesn't grow, it doesn't get bigger, it doesn't get more expensive, and it only depreciates in value, then there's no zakat due on those types of wealth. When we say farm animals, we're talking about 3 specific types that zakat is due on, and they are camels, cows, and sheep. There are 2 conditions for them to be zakatable, meaning that zakat is due on them. Firstly is that they're not designated for work. And of course, in fiqh we have a rule called al-hukm al-ghalib. The ruling is based on the most predominant usage, or the most predominant thing. How can I say that better as it relates here? Let's say you have a camel, or you have a number of camels, and you're a farmer, and these are your camels. You milk them, sometimes you slaughter them, and so on. You interact with them as a farmer interacts with his camels. But every now and then you sell one. So it's like merchandise. Every now and then you put one to work. Every now and then you might, use one to pull a tractor or pull something. You might use one to carry something from a place to a place. The hukm, the ruling should be connected to what its predominant usage is for. If it's a farm animal that occasionally, every now and then, is used for some work, then it doesn't count as an animal which is designated for work. Right? The animal that's designated for work, they are the work animals, right? You have a certain kind of cow that might carry things or pull things. That cow is exempt, and so on. So they are to be not designated for work. And secondly, they graze naturally. They're sa'ima. They graze naturally, meaning you don't have to purchase for them the grass. You don't have to go and purchase food for them and bring it to them. But rather, the shepherd can just take them out and they graze from the greenery, from the grass, from the shrubbery, from things that are available naturally. So that makes them sa'ima. That's when the zakat is due on them. This excludes those fed by purchased grass, as mentioned, yeah? Okay. The zakat due on camels. Now, for today's class, it's essential, if you want to work on things, that you have paper and that you're ready to jot down these categories or these levels or brackets of zakat. As opposed to wealth like merchandise or savings, that wealth is a percentage. So every time you have a little bit more, you're going to pay a little bit more. Every time you have a little bit less, you're going to pay a little bit less. When we come to baha'im, then there are brackets. When you get into a certain bracket, anyone in that bracket pays the same amount. You're used to that because you have tax brackets, right, in your American tax system. So we have brackets of zakat here, and we're going to look at how that works with camels. 0 to 4 camels. If you have 3 camels, if you have 4 camels, then there is no zakat due on your camels. That means that the nisab is what? nisab, the minimum, is 5. Barakallahu feek, right? 5 to 9 camels, you're going to pay in zakat 1 sheep. So you have the right understanding here. What's this mean you're going to pay 1 sheep? Let's go rewind and go to the past a little bit. What did we have? We had farms, we had villages, we had people with animals as a common feature of every group of people, every tribe. And we had ummal or ashar, those designated by the khulafa, those designated by the Muslim leaders to collect the zakat. They could come to the farm and take the zakat, or they could stand at the roads, and when the shepherds would come past, they could take the zakat from them there. There were many different ways. So we have, as it relates to paying the zakat, this could be a little, this is okay, right? We have, as it relates to zakat, when you say, well, who picks this 1 sheep? Is it the one who comes to collect, the agent, the worker of the government who comes to collect the zakat, or is it the one who gives the zakat? And that goes back to Wali al-Amr and his choice of how he's going to collect the zakat. If the Wali al-Amr says, zakat is collected here, please come and submit whichever sheep you're happy with, and he leaves it to the people, then that's fine. And some scholars recommend that because it's that person's wealth, and let him take from the wealth what he's pleased with. Other scholars say no, it should be that the zakat is taken, chosen by the collector of the zakat, right? And they use as proof for that the hadith of Mu'adh, when he was sent to Yemen. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَإِيَّاكَ وَكَرَائِمَ أَمْوَالِهِمْ, and be warned against taking the best of their wealth. Right? Meaning take from the medium category of the different properties that you're going to take for zakat. So there's an indication there that Mu'adh was sent to take the zakat. So he takes it as an instruction from the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Allah Ta'ala knows best. Tayyib. So if you have 5 to 9 camels, you're going to pay 1 sheep. Now, if you have 7, you pay 1 sheep. If you have 5, you pay 1 sheep. If you have 9, you pay 1 sheep in zakat. Tayyib. That's a bracket, right? That's a bracket. Everyone from 5 to 9 pays the same amount. Likewise, we go up to 10 to 14. 2 sheep are due. 2 sheep are due. Now you're saying, why is it that he's paying sheep in his zakat for camels? Camels are a very expensive kind of wealth, right? And sheep are the cheapest of the 3 categories, historically and even until today. Sheep are the cheapest. So 1 sheep is really not much. When a person has 10 camels, average farmer with 10 camels would have many, many sheep, and it would be a very easy thing to pay 1 sheep in zakat. As for paying one of those 5 camels or something, that would be a very big hit. That would be that would be a large amount of his wealth. Tayyib. You see a pattern here, and you're saying, oh, this is easy. There's a pattern, and it's about to be disturbed and not as easy as it begins with. We're basing this, what's the proof for all of this, by the way? We're basing it on the letter of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu that he took from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to those who collect the zakat and how they are to collect the zakat, right? And it's detailed. It's found in Sunan Abi Dawud and other books, now with authentic chains, 15 to 19, and then 20 to 25. Is that right? 20 to 24. Barakallahu feekum. And so that nisab there is 5. The nisab that you remember with camels is 5. Whoever has less than 5 camels, he doesn't pay. From 25 to 35, we're going to pay a bint makhad. Now it's going to get a little difficult. First, it's easy. Sheep. When we say sheep, a goat, a ram, a sheep, any of those things in the sheep family, right? So now we're going into different kinds of camels, and we're going to learn a little culture that will help us through this study. And as well, the mention of these different kinds of camels comes sometime in different ahadith. So you'll have some general culture and some language as well by which to understand some texts here and there. A bint makhad. The makhad, linguistically, is the time of delivery, the labor a woman goes through to give birth, or a female animal, is called makhad. So a bint makhad is a camel, a baby camel, that's 1 year old, and the mother, and it's not a condition to be called bint makhad, but the mother is typically pregnant with the next offspring, right? About to give birth, or pregnant. That's called bint makhad. So it's literally means a daughter of a makhad, of a pregnant or, about to give birth camel. Right? And that's one typically in the second year of life, passing 1 year. So 1 to 2 years, meaning 1 year old, as we count years. Then we have from 36 to 45 camels. And we're going to have 4 different kinds of camels based on their age. And one thing that makes it easy is that they're by years. A 1-year-old camel, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 4-year-old. So the 1-year-old is called bint makhad. You can tie that to Surah Maryam, فَأَجَاءَهَا الْمَخَاضُ إِلَى جِذْعِ النَّخْلِ. Then the makhad, the time of birth, the labor pains, led her, Maryam, when she was giving birth to Isa ibn Maryam, to a date palm tree. That's mentioned in Surah Maryam. It was the makhad that's mentioned there, just as a linguistic point or a linguistic connection. Then we have bint labun. Labun sounds like leban. You know what leban is? Milk. Yeah, typically now in modern culture, leban means buttermilk, not the regular milk. They call that halib. But traditionally, all the milk that would be taken from the udder of an animal is all halib, or leban. So bint labun, if the 1-year-old was the daughter of a mother who's about to give birth, what do you think a bint labun is? Huh? The mother is now feeding the babies that she had the previous year. So this is a 2-year-old. Bint labun is a 2-year-old camel. That's if the person owns 36 to 45 camels. Moving on, 46 to 60. Notice we're not increasing by 5s now. We're not increasing by any consistent amount. These require memorization. Make yourself a little chart, and I would like to see from you, for camels specifically, a chart, that you use to summarize and review in a brief fashion, a table or however you would design it. And perhaps we could look at the best of them and the clearest and the most beneficial, the one that doesn't have mistakes like my previous slide, and use it as a handout for the rest of the brothers and sisters, insha'Allah ta'ala. That's something I would recommend. 46 to 60 camels we're going to pay in zakat a hiqqa. A hiqqa is a 3-year-old. 3-year-old adolescent camel. Adolescent means able to attract the male camel, able to get pregnant. Hiqqa. And as they said, it's, hiqqa is related to istihqaq or haqq. That now it's like the stud, the word stud here goes back in farm language to mean the fahal, the male that you use for breeding. Yeah, so now that male's interested in this 3-year-old, and that male starts paying attention. وَحَقٌّ لَهُ. He has the right to do that, right? Because she's reached that age of adolescence, right? That's natural all throughout the animal world. That's how Allah created the animals, that at a certain time they reach their adolescence, or they reach that stage where they are now interested themselves, and their mates become interested, and they begin mating. And that's the 3-year-old camel, the hiqqa. And then you have from 61 to 75 camels. This is the last kind of camel that we need to learn, is a jada'a. The jada'a is the one whose teeth begins to fall out. At this age, camel farmers know that the teeth begin to fall out, the baby teeth begin to fall out of the camel at 4 years old. And then all of these descriptions that we're getting, just to help you remember the name, bint makhad, bint labun, hiqqa, and jada'a, none of those are conditions. So if we have a camel whose teeth aren't falling out, or another camel who's, not adolescent yet, but is 3 years old, another camel whose mother has not become pregnant. None of that is essentially required. That's just a way for you to know the name. That's what these names are based on. And it's not required that the mother be pregnant or breastfeeding, or not breastfeeding, feeding the children, feeding the baby camels. That's 61 to 75 camels. Then we go to 76 to 90 camels, and we have bint labun, 2 bint labuns. Bint labuns are what? How old are they? 2 or 3? 2 years old, meaning they're in the third year. They've completed 2 complete years. They're in the third year of their lives, so they are 2-year-olds. 2-year-old camels. 2 bint labuns. 2 bint labuns. A rational or logical question here. Out of the 4 kinds of camels, which one is the most expensive? Everyone's saying the jada'a? Yeah. Hiqqa is most expensive. Why the hiqqa over the jada'a? I'm interested. Well, also, wouldn't the 4-year-old be as well, even more capable, more mature and more ready? There's a clear answer if you understand. This is from the way zakat was legislated from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So once you have more wealth, you're paying a jaza'a, which obviously must be more expensive and more prized than a hiqqa, because it's the next category. When you own more camels, then you have to pay more. How do you pay more? Instead of a hiqqa, you pay a jaza'a. So from this you understand as well the values of the camels, that they increase as the camels get older, from bint makhal all the way to jaza'a. So now we're paying 2 bint labuns for 76 camels to 90 camels. Tayyib. Then we go to 91 to 120 camels, and we're going to pay 2 hiqqas. How old is a hiqqa? 3. Barakallahu feek. 3. Hiqqa is 3. Tayyib. So we have 91 to 120 camels. Now at this point we reach the limit where we say anything beyond this, we have a formula, right? And we're not going to go on with brackets. And that is over 121 camels, you pay 1 bint labun for every 40, 1 hiqqa for every 50. Right? That's a bit confusing until we put it into practice. 1 bint labun for every 40, 1 hiqqa for every 50. So, if you have 150 camels, 150 camels, you pay 3 hiqqas. 1 hiqqa for every 50. If you have 160, you could pay 4 bint labun. You pay 4 bint labun. And again, you're going to see there's some options. You could say, well, I could pay 2 bint labuns and 2 hiqqas for certain things, or all hiqqas or all bint labuns. Again, where does the choice go to? Go back to that discussion that we mentioned. It's either the waliul amr or his responsible collector of zakat who makes the decision, or the person himself who makes the decision if he's granted that. And of course we have in Islam, alhamdulillah, complete guidance. If the Prophet ﷺ said, hear and obey your leader, وَإِن ضَرَبَ ظَهْرَكَ وَأَخَذْ مَالَكَ, even if he beats your back and takes your money, then it's so much easier if he just said, I want this one and this one and this one, and he takes them. He's not beating your back or taking your money in an unjust way. He's taking the zakat. Tayyib. So if in oppression we are required to remain obedient and hear and obey our Muslim leaders, then what about when it comes to just taking the zakat and there's, I'd prefer he take this sheep and not that one? Well, of course, when we put everyone in their place and we give everyone the status that Allah gave them, then a farmer wouldn't push his opinion over what the collector of zakat would like, and he would make sure that he honors the representative of the Muslim ruler who's come to collect the zakat. Just as a 165. Excellent. 4 bint labuns, that would be 160. Tayyib. So again, the issue is to pick between bint labun and hiqqa for a larger amount of camels, then the right would be for the wali al-amr, or if he grants the choice to, if he's lenient and he gives the choice to the people to submit their zakat, then alhamdulillah that is available for them. I was talking about the importance of wulat al-umur and their status in the society and how we are to respect them, and it connects to zakat, as you can see. It connects to zakat in a number of ways. You know that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, he fought and killed those who refused to pay the zakat. So that's an issue that was taken very seriously by our Salaf, the first and best of them, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the first Khalifa. As well, oppression happens and mistakes happen from the wulat al-umur. They might take your zakat twice in 1 year by mistake. So if someone, a representative, comes to collect the zakat twice in 1 year, and you tell him, I've already paid, I have records, and he goes, I don't care about the records, I'm taking these 3 based on what you have, and he's not listening to you. What do? In this case, you give it to him. Goes back to that hadith in Sahih Muslim, obey, hear and obey, even if he beats your back and takes your money. Here he's taking your money, and it's unjust, but the rationale here, if you were to say, no, I'm going to stand up for my right, and I'm going to get my shotgun and stand and protect my farm, what's going to happen? He's going to bring military force in there, and then you're going to call your tribe, and it's going to be a war between what? The people and the rulers and their representatives. And where is that going to go? It's going to plunder the society into modern-day Egypt, into places where the people have rebelled and tried to replace their rulers and all of that. So from Islam is cooperation, is respecting the status that Allah Ta'ala has given those in charge of our affairs. And a lot of people, they say, why do Salafis keep talking about that issue? Because our lives as Muslims is directly connected to that. And safety and security of the Muslim state is connected to that. And it's clear in the Middle East, the societies that safeguard that issue are safe. And they're clean and good, wholesome societies, schools, hospitals, infrastructure, everything going on. And the societies that have put that behind their backs, abandoned, neglected the manhaj of the Salaf in working with and cooperating with and respecting and honoring their rulers, look at their situation. Look at their schools, hospitals, public services, police forces, everything is shot, people are being oppressed, there's no one to go to, and they wish they had that oppressive regime that they wanted to replace so badly with anything. Wallahu musta'an. From Islam is to look ahead and to think about matters and to follow the way of goodness of those Muslims who preceded you. Walhamdulillah. In zakat, check this out. In zakat, in the time of the tabi'een, and even the time of some of the companions and later companions, in the lifetime of Anas ibn Malik, one of the last companions to die, it said he died in the early 90s after Hijrah, 91, 90, all the way up to 94, it's been said. Anas ibn Malik, radiyallahu anhu. In his time, people were having zakat taken from them wrongly, right, by the representatives of the government. They would stand at the bridges and the roads and take the zakat from farmers who would pass by. And farmers would have their zakat taken from them more than once in a year, right? And they would get, the farmers would be upset, and they would be, rightfully upset, internally upset, not, rebelling or something. But they came to Anas ibn Malik, and they came to Al-Hasan al-Basri as well, and they asked about this issue. I want you to notice the question they asked about it. They asked, can we make our intention that the zakat that was taken from us be the zakat in advance for the following year? They didn't ask about, can we rebel and how can we fight? They accepted it and they didn't like it, but they asked about the fiqh of it. Can it be that we can, because the problem here is that إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, and here, zakat was just taken from them. So, normally, if something is taken from you, you can't say, well, my intention is now zakat for that was taken from me. Because the niyyah has to be present at the time of the action. That's our rule in Islam for actions of ibadat. However, Anas gave the fatwa that فَهِيَ صَدَقَةٌ مَاضِيَةٌ, that in that case, you can count that as the following year's zakat. right? Even though it was taken from you by force against your will and you were not pleased with it. So Anas's verdict was, you can count that as the following year's zakat in Allah Ta'ala. It was also the verdict of Al-Hasan al-Basri. And in that fatwa is a big long story that's going to connect to the last session, number 5, as it relates to fi sabilillah and those who wish to broaden the spectrum of fi sabilillah as a category of zakat to include all angles of good, building roads and building bridges and all of that, which is incorrect, and it's going to come back to this fatwa of Anas and Al-Hasan al-Basri in a way that is not very direct, but you're going to see a very interesting connection. Tayyib, I ask you now, 78 camels. What's due on 78 camels? 2 bint laboons. What's a bint laboon? A 2-year-old, right? A 2-year-old camel. How many camels are due on 120? How many? What zakat is due on 120 camels? In the back. Huh? 2 hiqqas. Very good. 2 hiqqas. Very good. 200 camels. 200 camels. There are some options here. We've got some options. No. 4 hiqqas. 4 hiqqas straight, right? Very good. That's 4 times 50, 200 camels. You could also do 5 bint laboon. Tayyib, barakallahu feek. And again, the choice should be to wali al-amr first. And the scholars differ over who gets the choice, but if we understand the status of wali al-amr, we would never say, well, if there's a clash, then the person should have the right to overtake the opinion of the one who collects the zakat. Allah has mentioned wulatul umur in the Quran and obedience that's due to them, especially in matters like this that relate to masalah al-mujtama and collecting zakat, subhanallah. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul wa ulil amri minkum. O you who believe, obey Allah, obey the messenger, and ulul amr, and the people of authority that are amongst you. Tayyib. So that's clear that the preference and the priority should go to the choice made by those who collect the zakat, and Allah Ta'ala knows best. Tayyib. Little vocabulary review. What's a 1-year-old camel called? Now I'm not asking you what's a bint this called. How old is that? I'm asking what's the word now? Huh? Bint makhal. Alright? Bint makhal. What is, there's the Arabic as well. Bint makhal. What's a 2-year-old camel called? Bint laboon. Bint laboon. Tie it to your Arabic, your Arabic words. Makhal, the mother's pregnant. Laboon, the mother is feeding, giving milk to the siblings. Bint laboon. What's a 3-year-old camel called? Hiqqa. Right? Hiqqa. That's the adolescent camel, usually. And then, what's the 4-year-old camel called? Jada'a. What's the jada'a? Usually the teeth start to fall out at that age. 4-year-old camel. Excellent. As you can see, vocabulary is a bit important here to know as it relates to our categories of zakat. We're going to move on to cows now. We're going to move on to cows. Tayyib. Good news, cows is a little easier than camels in terms of the categories, the levels, the brackets. The most difficult one was the camels. Yeah. Tayyib. 0 to 29 cows, there is nothing. That means we know there's a certain phrase for that minimum, the nisab. Yeah, what's the nisab on cows? 30, right? 30. So every 30 cows, right away we have, just like we had at the end of the camels, every 40 and every 50. Now we have every 30 cows, we pay 1 tabi' or 1 tabi'ah. 1 tabi' or 1 tabi'ah. That's a calf at least 1 year old. That's a 1-year-old calf. Tabi' or tabi'ah. Now that's a male or a female. Male or a female. Directly from the letter of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, he mentioned the tabi' or tabi'ah, a male or a female calf of 1 year old for every 30 cows. Every 40 cows, 1 musinna. 1 musinna. It's a calf of a little bit older. Tabi'ah, the tabi'ah from taba'a, the one that follows around the mother. And the musinna has to do with the sin, starting to have teeth. Tayyib, that's a 2-year-old calf. And that is zakat on the cows, as you can see. Much easier than the brackets that we have to memorize for the camels. So every 30, we have a tabi' or a tabi'ah, male or female, 1-year-old. Right? And every 40, 1 musinna. That is a 2-year-old calf. And that is female. Musinna, not musin, but musinna. Right? Why? The first answer is that's the way the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam prescribes zakat for us. Right? That males or females from the first year or females from the second year. And Allahu Ta'ala knows best. So the nisab is 30. So, in practice, 120 cows. What zakat is due? None. 2 musinnas, that's 80. 3, yeah, throw one more in there. 3 musinnas. 3 musinnas for 120. Or, there's another option. 4 tabi'as or tabi'as. 2 tabi'as, 2 tabi'as. Any mixture like that. Tayyib. Very good. 19 cows. Nothing. Why not? The nisab is 30. Tayyib. So 19 is less than 30. It's under the nisab. No zakat is due on 19 cows. Tayyib. 500 cows. Really need the calculator on the 4th session, not really this one, but 20 musinnas, 20, that would be what, 800? Yeah, 12 musinnas, that would be 480. I've got 500. Good, we're straight. 12 musinnas works. What about in tabi'as or tabi'as? 16 tabi'as, 16 times 480 as well. Very good. Yeah, 16 tabi'as, or any combination that would work. And again, the preference goes to Wali al-Amr, or if he gives preference to the farmer, he can choose, then the farmer goes ahead and picks what he likes. When we talk about these animals, here's an important point as it relates to those in charge, that they're required to be fearful of Allah Azza wa Jal and conscious of Allah in how they take the zakat from the people. And while we're saying here on one angle we are required to, hear and obey our rulers even when acts of oppression occur, the rulers are also admonished by Allah Azza wa Jalla and by His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam to be fair, to be balanced. We're taking the middle. The people in charge would come and take the middle category of the wealth, not the kara'im al-amwal, not the very best cows, the prize cows, and not the worst. And it's relative to that farm. So there could be a farm with really high quality cows, camels, sheep, and all of that. And so the middle would be way better than another weaker farm with less quality animals. So it's relative to that farm. So if it's a farm full of the top quality grade A animals, then the middle category is going to be a very good quality of animal, but not the top and prize most possessions. And not the sick ones, the defective ones, with missing limbs or sicknesses or illnesses, rather from the middle category. We're going to talk about that inshallah in a little bit more detail. So there we have cows. Cows is a bit easy because all you have to remember is 30, every 30 tabi'ah, every 40 musinna. Right? And then whatever amount you have, you just count out your 30s and your 40s. Like the zakat due on sheep. The zakat due on sheep as well is easy to remember as it compares to camels. Right? And there you see, alhamdulillah, that it's not going to be so difficult to remember all of these numbers, that the difficulty that is, the relative difficulty that's there for camels is alone in the sheep, and the cows are a bit easier to manage. 0 to 39 is nothing. So we understand from this, 40 is the nisab. 40 is your minimum to be required to pay the zakat on sheep. And then from 40 to 120, and this is one irregularity out of a system that you'll see that's coming up. 40 to 120, you pay one sheep. You pay one sheep. Again, sheep are, rams, goats, all of that family. You pay one of the middle kind. So if you have very good, high quality rams and, very big rams, your middle category of rams will be used. And if a person has a bunch of very small, scrawny sheep, then the middle category from his small, scrawny sheep are taken in zakat. And it's encouraged as well to give from a higher category. If the farmer voluntarily gives some of his prize sheep, then Allah Ta'ala loves al-ihsan. He loves proficiency and doing things in a better way as options from his servants. So that would be recommended but not required from the farmer. So then we go 121 to 200, we pay 2 sheep. And now after this it gets regular. From 201 to 300, 3 sheep. From 301 to 400 we pay 4 sheep. And so on, according to this same system. The only thing that's not regular there are the first 2. Right? Otherwise, if you have 845 sheep, you say you're in the 800s and you pay how much? 9 sheep, right? Go up to the next number, huh? So 850, 875, all of that would be 9 sheep, right? With the exception of the first 2. So if I have 115, I might think, okay, it's over 100, so it's 2 sheep. Here 115 hasn't reached 120, so it's still, 1 sheep, even though I'm in the hundreds. So if you can remember 2 things, the nisab is 40, and that exception of the second 100 or the first 100 going all the way up to 120. Remember those 2 exceptions, then everything else is by the hundreds. Right? So how many sheep would be due on 1,188 sheep? Huh? 12, very good. Yeah, 1,100. You don't have to worry about the numbers. Once you hear 1,100 whatever, 12 sheep. So there's a lot of ease in it when it comes to that. 1,100 whatever, the remaining amount, the tens and ones, doesn't matter. We go to, that's 12 sheep are due on such a person. Tayyib. Naam. And so this is our rule for sheep. And it's a pretty easy one. The most notable exception to remember is the 40 as the nisab and 120 for the first 100. Goes up to 120. Then 121 to 200, everything goes to the 100. The nisab is 40. This is what I mentioned before. Islam is the middle course in everything. So the prize animals, the best, are not to be taken as payment. And Mu'adh bin Jabal was warned against this practice. Mu'adh, when he said, there's an interesting related benefit from that hadith, when he sent Mu'adh and he said, إِنَّكَ تَأْتِي قَوْمًا مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ, you're coming to people from the people of the scripture. You're approaching people of Jews and Christians, right? فَلْيَكُنْ أَوَّلَ مَا تَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَيْهِ شَهَادَةُ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. So let the first thing that you call them to be the testimony that none have the right to be worshipped other than Allah. وَإِنْهُمْ أَطَاعُوكَ فِي ذَلِكَ فَأَخْبِرْهُمْ أَنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ افترض عليهم 5 صلوات في كل يوم وليلة. And if they accept that from you, if they obey you in that, then inform them that Allah has prescribed upon them 5 salah each day and night. And then he went on, if they obey you in that, then inform them that sadaqah is required to be taken from their wealth and distributed to their poor. وَإِيَّاكَ وَكَرَائِمَ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. And be warned against the best of their wealth. Don't take the best of their wealth. This is Mu'adh bin Jabal, who is from the best of the companions, from the young men of the companions. He's been mentioned by the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam as being أَعْلَمُ النَّاسِ بِالْحَلَالِ وَالْحَرَامِ, the most knowledgeable of the companions as it relates to halal and haram. And our Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam would warn his beloved companions against oppression, any small act of oppression. And this would be oppression. If you take only the best of the people's wealth for zakat, it's oppression. And he warned Mu'adh against that, and thus he warned his whole ummah against oppression. And he connected that to his warning at the end of the hadith in one narration, وَاتَّقِي دَعْوَةَ الْمَظْلُومِ, and be warned against the supplication of the oppressed. Meaning, if you were to take the kara'im of their amwal, if you were to take the very best of their wealth, then you would have committed oppression, and that would open up a door for them to make dua against you, right? So, be warned and be afraid of the supplication of the oppressed. There is no screen, there is no barrier between it and Allah, meaning it is a supplication that is accepted. So, in terms of oppression is not limited to major acts of violence or transgression. But look at this. Just in your selection of how you take the zakat from the people, there can be an act of oppression. And that act of oppression is something that could have very serious consequences. Wallahu al-musta'an. Financial oppression is probably the most commonly neglected kind of oppression that many Muslims commit. That they delay payments, for example. Look at how much our Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us against financial acts of financial oppression. Meaning, you don't give a person his financial right. He said, "Matlul ghani dhulm." Matl al-ghani dhulm. 3 words. Beautiful hadith, right? For the ghani, the one who's able to pay back a debt, the time of the debt comes and he's able to pay it back, but he doesn't pay it. Right? This is dhulm. Matlul ghani dhulm. It is dhulm. It's oppression. Tayyib. Allah sends in the world of the unseen that we believe in because our Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam has informed us of it. Allah sends out 2 angels each and every day. And these 2 angels, one of them says, Allahumma a'ati munfiqan khalafan. Oh Allah, give the munfiq, give the one who spends, meaning in all obligatory matters of spending. He spends on his family as they require spending. He spends the zakat out of his wealth. He pays back the debts on time. All obligations, financial obligations. Allahumma a'ati munfiqan khalafan. Oh Allah, give someone who spends a replacement. And the other one says, Allahumma a'ati mumsikan talafan. Oh Allah, give the one who withholds destruction. Right? Now, the reason why I said that the hadith is about obligations is that this angel makes a supplication against the one who doesn't spend. So this is not about optional spending. It's not about optional charities. You're not going to be punished if you don't give an optional charity, sadaqah, that goes beyond the rights and obligations that are on you. But if you fall short of your obligations, if you don't pay a debt at its time when you are able, if you don't pay your workers when you are able, right, at the time when their salary is due, if you don't take care of your financial obligations, the dua of these angels includes you. Right? Oh Allah, Allahumma a'ati mumsikan talafan. Oh Allah, give the one who refrains and withholds destruction. It all goes back again to the connection of the unseen world, the barakah, the blessings in the wealth, to the obedience of Allah Azza wa Jal as it connects to that wealth. Remember, al-bayyi'ani bil-khiyari ma lam yatafarraqa. The 2 participants of a sale, they have the right to opt out of the sale as long as they don't separate. فَإِن صَدَقَا وَبَيَّنَا بُورِكَ لَهُمَا فِي بَيْعِهِمَا. If they're honest, if both of them are honest, and both of them are revealing, they reveal all the defects, right, of their products and everything that needs to be known, then they'll have barakah in their sale. Obedience to Allah, honesty, openness, not hiding anything, no trickery, no deception, right? وَإِن كَتَمَا وَكَذَبَا مُحِقَتْ بَرَكَةُ بَيْعِهِمَا. And if they cheat, or if they lie and they deceive, or they hide things and they conceal things that need to be known, then the barakah of their sale will be wiped away. So then, as it relates to our wealth and our benefit from the wealth, all of that is in the hands of Allah Azza wa Jal. He is the one who provides barakah for some wealth and not for others, based on the sincerity and the obedience of those who hold that wealth. Naam. So, be warned of acts of oppression as it relates to money, and pay your debts, and be just as it relates to your money, and don't transgress financially, lest those. Now we just mentioned that. Lest those angels and their dua afflict you. May Allah Ta'ala save us from such an affliction. We did so far 2 out of 5 classes. Remember, this is not an easy thing, the study of the camels, cows, and sheep, except for the one that Allah makes it easy on. So thank Allah Ta'ala that He blessed you to sit in one of His houses and study a pillar of your religion with details that a lot of Muslims never get to encounter, a lot of Muslims never study, right? Thank Allah for that so that He can increase you. And in seeking knowledge, there is patience, right? There is patience that is required. وَمَنْ يَتَصَبَّرْ يُصَبِّرْهُ اللَّهُ. And whoever shows patience, he shows enduring patience. He يَتَكَلَّفَ الصَّبْرِ. And he pushes himself to have patience when he doesn't really find any. That's the person that Allah will give him stability upon patience. Allah Ta'ala will make that person a patient person and provide him with patience additionally. That's required in seeking knowledge. This is a 5-day conference. It is beautiful to see all the faces here. May Allah Ta'ala protect them all from the fire. But it requires patience, right? And the scholars mention patience being of different types, right? And they say patience is of 3 types. Patience through calamities, where you remain stable, remembering Allah through the loss of someone. Patience in refraining from disobedience, that you refrain from a whim, a desire, you fight against it, you repel it, and you stick to the obedience of Allah Azza wa Jal. And that is a category of patience. Patience, a sabr an al-ma'siyah. Then you have a sabr ala ta'a, patience upon obedience. And the scholars say this is the most difficult of the categories of patience. That you worship Allah, and that you remain steadfast and continue worshiping Him with that kind of worship. As that's the stability that very few have, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us that stability, that patience in His religion. That's what will get you through a course, even a short course like this, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for assistance. إِذَا اسْتَعِنْتَ فَاسْتَعِنْ بِاللَّهِ. When you ask for assistance, then ask of Allah Azza wa Jal firstly. So with that reminder, we look forward to tomorrow's session. It is about partnerships with farm animals, crops, precious metals, jewels, honey, and buried treasure. And then we'll get into, in our 4th session, Zakat on money, jewelry, and merchandise. All of this, of course, insha'Allah, as a benefit. When you forget to say insha'Allah, what do? You say insha'Allah when you remember. وَذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ إِذَا نَسِيتَ. Right? Remember your Lord when you forget. طيب. And Ibn Abbas said, يَجُوزُ الْإِسْتِثْنَاء إِلَى السَّنَةِ. You can make it up to a year later even. If you forgot and it came to your mind, you can say insha'Allah about a matter that you spoke of a long time ago and you felt you didn't say insha'Allah. And saying that, some people say, well, saying insha'Allah is from the dhikr, that's mustahab. Saying insha'Allah ta'ala is an obligation. It's an obligation. And not saying insha'Allah can lead to the destruction of your wealth. How is that? Surat Noon. Surat Noon. Huh? What's the verse? Aywa, Allah tastathnun, Allah yastathnun. What's the verse? Not this one, this is Al-Kahf. Take yourself to Al-Qalam. قال أوسطهم ألم أقل لكم لولا تسبحون قال أهل العلم التسبيحنا الاستثناء. The most balanced among those people, those who said, we're going out and we're going to get the harvest of our gardens, right? And they didn't say insha'Allah, وَلَا يَسْتَثْنُونَ, right? فَطَافَ عَلَيْهِمْ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ طَائِفٌ. What is it? طَائِفٌ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ وَهُمْ نَائِمُونَ. Aywa, so immediately punishment came. Their gardens were burned down, right? And they didn't say insha'Allah later. أَوْسَطُهُمْ, the most balanced. أَعْدَلُهُمْ, the most balanced of them reminds them that he was there telling them to say insha'Allah, and they refused. Allahu Akbar. He said, أَلَمْ أَقُلْ لَكُمْ لَوْ لَا تُسَبِّحُونَ. Wasn't I telling you to say insha'Allah? And they refused. So, intentionally avoiding saying insha'Allah ta'ala or insha'Allah regarding your future plans is something that can lead to the destruction of your wealth, subhanAllah. Tayyib. So tomorrow, inshallah, zakat on money, jewelry, and merchandise. Not tomorrow, but the fourth session. Tomorrow is the partnerships session. And then lastly, legitimate recipients of zakat, the 8 categories of who receives zakat. Our next session in this series is tomorrow afternoon, Friday at 5:15, inshallah ta'ala.